Right, Avengers Forever, Part 1, Part 2. This is the first, and possibly the only time that I'm going to review any of these members of the Marvel graphic novel collection together. Probably more so because one, I can see this being a very long video, and I don't really like doing videos that are over half an hour long, because those ones don't usually get the views, and they take a long time to export, and a long time to upload, so yeah, I don't usually like making those often. But yeah, I kind of need to do this just to catch up, really. Just because I want to get to, because over the elongated break, the week break that I had, where I had no internet, I kind of got a bit ahead of myself. I got up to book 16. Yeah, I read up to book 16, which is the one after this, Thor in Search of the Gods, which I didn't like, really, and you'll see why I didn't like that in the next video. But in this one, I'm just going to talk about Avengers Forever, the storyline. Avengers Forever is essentially a sequel to the Kree-Skrull War, and it starts off on this this planet that's not Earth, because it's covered in blue people, and they get attacked by an army of Thors, Iron Mans, Captain Americas, and Ant-Men, but these are like kind of militarized, army-ified versions of the core members of the Avengers, and they're led by Johns Rickard, and the Time kind of keepers are like, this won't do at all. So we go to the blue area of the moon at current day, and Rick Jones is in a coma following a fight with the Hulk, which left him paralyzed from the waist down, and then he got a weird illness. This weird illness, coming about just after the Kree-Skrull War. So he's been taken to the blue area of the moon, and the Avengers are kind of confronted with this thing, like, what's wrong with Rick Jones? What's going on here? So they take him to the Kree Supreme Intelligence, who basically says, I can fix him, but you need to trust me to do so. And so they leave, and Libra, this member of the Zodiac gang, who decided to leave the Zodiac gang to kind of pursue his own kind of career or escapades, kind of leaves. He joins, says, look, you'll need to help the boy because the Destiny War is coming, and we're We need to be ready for it. So he's like, help him, do it. So then we see like this place called Limbo, where this guy called Immortus is watching these events transpire, and he's like, no, I'm not having none of that. I send my giant frost like beast called Tempest to kill Rick Jones. And within seconds of Tempest arriving, Kang the Conqueror shows up, and Kang fights this Tempest guy, and Immortus, who is a future version of Kang, basically just whoops up an army to kind of kill Kang. And Rick Jones wakes up at this point, and he wakes up in the middle of this fight, in the middle of this war that's going on around him, and he sees the Kree Supreme Intelligence and Kang, and he's like, what the fuck am I going to do? How do I get out of this area? How do I get out of all this that's happening around me? And so Libra kind of taps him on the shoulder, which unleashes this power, so he brings forth a team of Avengers. And this team being Captain America, Yellow Jacket, Songbird, Hawkeye, Captain Marvel, Wasp, and Giant Man. It's later revealed that these are versions of the characters from kind of the worst points in their history. It's Giant Man and the Wasp are the two from present day. And they kind of know what's going on with Rick Jones. Songbird is an ex-villain who turned into an Avenger in the future. Captain Marvel, or Captain Marvel, he is the son of the original Captain Marvel, Genus, who is later revealed to have merged with Rick Jones. But in the future, where Rick Jones has lost an arm, and Yellow Jacket is from a time in Hank Pym's past when he was very damaged mentally, and he thought that he had killed the Hank Pym persona, and there was only Yellow Jacket. Captain America is from a point where he was just about to give up the shield and the suit, and he wasn't going to be Captain America anymore, because he had just witnessed the leader of this like secret empire, kill himself, and it was a like established politician, and he kind of thought, how is this the country that I'm supposed to be like the stalwart protector of? And then we have Hawkeye, who is from a time where he had just lost his Goliath powers, and he has no trick arrows either. So he's kind of buggered, really. He's been taken into this time war to like save the world, but he's just got a regular bow and arrow. But yeah, that's our team, and throughout the book we come to realize why this team was chosen. They chose a damaged Captain America so that he wasn't kind of the clear-cut leader that the team like expected him to be, and they chose a Wasp and Giant Man from from the modern day, because she was enough of a leader type to work as a leader for this team, but she kind of had enough faith and trust in her allies to kind of to trust them to do their own thing. Yellow Jacket was chosen to be kind of this like traitorous kind of character, so that his hatred towards the current day Hank Pym would force him to kind of turn traitor, and then turn back once he realised the scope of the situation. The Captain Marvel of the future knew a lot more than he was letting on, and he kind of he worked as he worked as someone who knew what people had to do, and especially what Rick Jones had to do. And Songbird was there because she was, she was a link to keep Captain Marvel in the team. And she was also a link to Wasp as well. She was a link to kind of all the other members of the team. And Hawkeye was there to act as another irritant to Yellow Jacket. And then when the climax to this is very reminiscent to the climax of Avengers Endgame, where it is just this massive all-out war, but the all-out war kind of, it's the whole reason for this war to take place, and for the Timekeepers to want to kill Rick Jones, is because it's because in 43% of timelines they saw that the Avengers went bad after the Kree-Skrull War, after these powers were enacted in Rick Jones. They found out that these powers were latent and dormant in all of humanity, and once they went into space, then all of alien civilization was kind of wiped out or amassed into the human empire, because humans are the single most dangerous people in most timelines. And they wanted to wipe out all 43% of timelines that went bad. So the Avengers decide, well, 43% of timelines went bad, that's not even half. What if we bring in all 57% of timelines that didn't go bad, that stayed good, and we bring them in to fight the 43% of timelines that went bad? And that's the big problem I have with this book. The major problem I have with this book. And that problem is it's very all over the place. There is a lot. If you don't know the ins and outs of the Avengers timeline and where everyone else is, it will describe to you where it is, but it will take forever to describe where it is. They will keep hammering in, especially Captain America. Captain America gets a lot of character building in this, but it's very hammered in and forced, and because it's so long, there's so much filler. They have a whole issue devoted to the timeline of Kang, and it's one of the most interesting timelines for a villain, because at the end of the day, his whole motive is just to conquer. He wants that feeling, that rush, and he gets that through like the war, the conquering, the battle, the thrill of battle, and he wants to feel that thrill of battle. And that's a really like compelling arc for a villain to have. But I feel like it's told in the most slow, boring way possible. And throughout every action sequence there's so much text. There's so much bloody text. And it's very... It's a lot of reading for kind of something that, you know, an action sequence you should kind of let the art speak for itself. But here it's kind of like they have to explain they take the fight sequences to explain what the characters are feeling and everything that's happened prior to this. And Hawkeye will be fighting Tempest, for example, and then they will explain at one point Hawkeye had the power of Goliath, but in this battle Hawkeye's been sent back or been devolved to the point where he did have the Goliath, and then he goes through that, and then he grows and beats Tempest. Also, for another thing that kind of confused me, Giant Man, Hank Pym, Goliath, for some reason he's always in his large form throughout the entirety of this book. And that's got to be uncomfortable. Like, why would you choose to always be in your large form? I don't get that. I mean, I do really kind of enjoy the concept of Avengers Forever. You know, time-plucked Avengers brought into this, like, war, and they have to, like, work together. And I enjoyed reading Captain America's arc, and I enjoyed reading Hawkeye's arc, but the execution of it, and just how slow, how much filler there is, the entire midpoint of the book is just filler. It could have been condensed down to 6 issues, and it could have been a lot quicker. But it had to be 12, and it had to be the slowest, longest, most drawn out storyline ever written in Marvel Comics. And that's annoying. That's probably why I give Avengers Forever a 6 out of 10. Again, not terrible, but not amazing either. There's probably a lot of people that really love this, and the deep dives, the deep cuts into the Marvel lore and canon, you know, it's commendable how much Kurt Busiek knows or researched for this book. It's just the amount of the amount of exposition, the amount of filler, the amount of just sitting around and talking is, I hate to say it, but almost boring. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. That's all I really have to say about Avengers Forever. Yeah. Peace.